In a move that could have far-reaching repercussions in the retail world, Wal-Mart is revamping the way it calculates staffing hours from a system based on fixed time shifts to one based on the amount of customers in the store. They would then shift more workers to the times that customers were in the store. Wal-Mart says that flexible shifts speed up the checkout process. They boost productivity. Critics, meanwhile, believe the systems basically costs employees some flexibility in their personal lives. Both sides now from our guests, Fred Smith, president of the Competitive Enterprise Institute, and Paul Blank, executive director of WakeUpWalmart.com, which is funded by the Food and Commercial Workers Union. Gentlemen, welcome. A pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
A lot of fun.
Fred, let me start with you. You maintain that a lot of workers, senior citizens, working moms, and the like, would like more flexibility in their schedule, but Walmart hasn't done a good job of getting the positive part of this shift change strategy out to the public. Is that correct?
Walmart has a wonderful way of employing people and serving customers. It doesn't always explain itself very well to the outside world. But as an employer myself, I know my employees already have a lot of flexibility. And if we could predict our work schedule as well as an organization like Walmart, we would be even better at it, and employees would be happy. I'd be happier. I'll be happier.
All right. We should note that Walmart isn't the only company employing this Payless Shoe Source, and others have done it or are considering doing it. Paul, basically, you feel as though this is taking away kind of a reliability factor, if you will, in workers' lives. That's part of your beef with it, correct?
Well, no, it's a total disaster for Walmart's employees. In fact, in the testing of this, Walmart has had, for the first time ever in the company's history, its workers walk out in one store in protest, because this is not about flexibility in scheduling. Don't get this confused with flex time. What this policy is that as a Walmart employee, you have to be available from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. And then Walmart tells you what your schedule is going to be. And you either can make the hours or you can't. And if you can't, then you get your hours cut. The problem is that those hours that they give you are completely unpredictable and can change week from week. So if you have to drop your child off for child care, you can't schedule that in a regular appointment.
Paul, as you know well, employment is a mutual contract, and the flexibility you're talking about in the workforce, of course, also exists on both sides. It may well happen that, as my employees often do, they get sick, a kid is out, and so forth. On-call employees are undoubtedly employees are going to be able to, I think, command a higher salary. Productivity is going to go up. That's going to mean a bigger pie for everyone, including the workers, not just the customers.
You have a complete misunderstanding of what this policy is, sir, with all due respect. What this policy says is that if your child gets sick and you have to leave to take care of that sick child, you lose your hours, and potentially you lose your job because they changed their attendance policy as well. What this is designed to do, that's the reality.
Paul,
we have a document from Walmart which says that.
A work strategy. They have one of the highest employment satisfactions of any firms out there. They have that because they've been able.
They have the lowest employee morale they've ever had.
They've been able to do that.
Right, gentlemen, you know what? The result of this is I can't hear either one of you. So sure. Fred, respond to Paul's comment that it may indeed cost workers money in the long term if they can't comply with the schedule that Walmart wants them to work.
Just like in all parts, as we computerize, as we raise productivity, the workforce changes from the rigidity of the old workforce of the past. You were hired at 20, you worked to 55, you were at a boring 9-to-5 job always. That's not the world we live in. We live in a world of high flexibility and the technology side, which has meant that just-in-time inventory, tremendous gains for Americans, for consumers, and for workers. We're now extending some of that creative flexibility to the workforce. It's going to mean some disruptions. It's going to mean some adjustments. But Walmart and the workforce of Walmart have an opportunity of doing a better job for themselves and a better job for the American consumers.
Paul, Walmart has said that they now are able to publish this schedule more than 3 weeks in advance, or up to 3 weeks in advance, in contrast to what used to happen. Do you not view that as a positive?
No, that unfortunately, that's just not the reality.
So you say they're lying? You're saying they're lying about that?
Oh, absolutely. This company, look, the first example of this was over a year and a half ago in West Virginia, when they basically cut this woman out of her hours because she had a child at daycare, and they eventually reinstated her because they got such bad press from it. So they still continue to deny that they have open availability. But in a document that we provided today to the Wall Street Journal, it clearly states that they do have a policy of open availability. What this is really designed to do is to cut their labor costs, and the way they're trying to do that is to push out long-term employees who depended on these regular schedules, and at the same time shift from full-time employees to replace them with part-time employees. They've gone from 80% to apparently their stated goal of 60%.
The nature of the modern workforce, of course, is moving towards flexibility. That means adjustable work schedules on both sides, and it means something more.
You are confusing this with flex time. Flex time is a separate issue.
No, Paul, you're confused. You regard employment as a warfare zone between employer and employee. That's not the world we live in.
No, it's a place where both the corporation should be able to profit as well as the employee should be able to profit. And unfortunately, that's not what's happening. It's been turned upside down.
Walmart could reduce their labor cost right now by dropping salaries by several dollars an hour. They don't do that.
That's exactly what they're doing. When you take a full-time employee making $12 an hour and replace it with a part-time employee making $6 an hour, you just dropped it by $6 per hour.
They could drop it right now by $2 more. They're not doing that because to get and motivate the kind of workforce they need to provide the kind of quality service they're doing, they pay higher prices. They're going to do the same thing with their workforce.
The truth of the matter is you have the first walkout in the company's history.
Virginia, give me a break.
No, it was in Florida. That just shows you how ignorant you are of this problem.
We will continue this discussion because this issue isn't going away. Fred and Paul, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Maybe next time Paul and I can have a conversation.
Street Signs just a couple minutes away, mercifully.